Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Grezik. I serve as an Associate Dean of Students within the Office of the Dean of Students here at UTC. Whether you're a current Parent and Family Association member, whether you have a son or daughter registered for the IFC or Panhellenic formal recruitment processes in a few short days, whether you have a student interested in one of our MPHC or special interest organizations, or if you think you have a son or daughter that may want to join one of our organizations during the upcoming academic year, we thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon. In a brief amount of time together, we hope to provide you more information on the fraternity and sorority life staff, what you can expect from them, and the resources that are available to you as a member of the mock community. We'll go over some terminology that your son or daughter may hear during the recruitment or intake processes. We'll go over those recruitment or intake processes in a little more detail. We'll go over the financial obligations that are involved with fraternity and sorority membership, and we'll discuss ways that you can help support your son or daughter during these recruitment or intake processes, and ways that you can connect with fraternity and sorority life staff during the upcoming academic year. Again, on behalf of the entire Office of the Dean of Students staff, we thank you for joining us on today's webinar. We sincerely hope that today's content is beneficial not only for you, but also for your student as you work together to decide on whether or not fraternity and sorority life membership is for you. Fraternity and sorority life is one of the many functional units within the Office of the Dean of Students. Within the Office of the Dean of Students, there's 15 full-time professionals that have advanced degrees and work in a number of functional units. We also have a number of administrative assistants, graduate assistants, and student workers that assist throughout the year. Specifically working with fraternity and sorority life are the 4 staff members in front of you. Aubrey and myself have advanced degrees in either higher education or college student personnel. I have been here since November 2014, with Aubrey joining the UTC community in spring 2015. Both of us have a vast amount of experiences working with college fraternities and sororities on different college campuses. We work with many of these organizations on an international and national level, and those that you do not see listed and that are not represented on our college campus. We also have a vast amount of experiences as it relates to recruitment and retention, building strategic plans, and advancing fraternity and sorority communities forward. Beyond Aubrey and myself, you have our graduate assistant, Jared, and Erica Hauster, who's our administrative specialist. Both these individuals are essential to the fraternity and sorority life community. I like to refer to them as the magic behind the scenes. Both provide frontline office support that is critical to the community. They assist with assessment of both our programs and upcoming projects. They help with marketing and branding. They help with contracts. They help with scheduling. They help with logistics. So all the work that Aubrey and myself do and the students do would not be helpful without their support that they provide. At the end of the spring 2017 semester, our fraternity and sorority life community consisted of 1,445 students, which are involved in 26 fraternities and sororities. That 1,445 figure equates to about 14% of the campus community. Greek life membership is anywhere from about 14 to 16% of the campus community, depending on the semester. We have more individuals involved at the end of the fall semester as opposed to spring semester, as the primary recruitment and intake season tends to be the fall semester here at UTC. Of the 1,445 students involved at the end of the spring 2017 semester, we had over 950 women, so there are more sorority women involved in our community than fraternity men. To the right of Aubrey and I's picture, you see the fraternities and sororities that we work with most closely on campus. So if you have a question about a particular organization, or if your son or daughter ends up joining one of these organizations, feel free to reach out to the staff member that works most closely with them. Obviously, if we are not available, feel free to email one of us, give us a call, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. So what to expect from fraternity and sorority life staff? Oftentimes there's this perception that fraternity and sorority leaders and council leadership are not given any advisement or support. At UTC, that is simply not true. Aubrey and I meet with the leadership of these organizations on a bi-weekly basis. We discuss event management. We discuss working through conflict that they may be experiencing. We talk through academic plans, developing standards, executing academic plans, um, developing standards, whether it's related to initial membership involvement, whether it's recruitment, whether it's academics. We help initiate and talk through change, and obviously provide resources that may be beneficial to their fraternity and sorority membership. Aubrey and I also work very closely with international headquarters, alumni advisors, regional support, advisory boards of our fraternities and sororities. We discuss what is going well, what are some areas of challenge, what are some potential collaborations, what is needed moving forward. So there are multiple entities that we communicate to make sure our fraternities and sororities are operating as efficiently and effectively as possible. Obviously, we also work closely with many other of the functional units within the Office of Dean of Students and other university constituents. So student engagement, for example, we want to make sure that our fraternities and sororities are involved in the homecoming process, both in participating and the implementation and the design of the week. For example, we also work very closely with our Disability Resource Center. So we want to make sure that all our events are as friendly and to our students that have visible and invisible disabilities, making sure that our events are available to them. We made great strides as it relates to our recruitment processes, as it relates to supporting students of all needs. We also work very closely with the Student Veterans Support Services to make sure that we are being allies to our veterans on our campus and within our organization, and that goes with all our populations on campus, whether that's our LGBTQI community, whether it's our students who struggle with mental health, whatever the case may be. We want to make sure that our fraternity and sorority community is as inclusive as possible. So again, we work with a lot of entities across campus. We also provide a lot of workshops and initiatives around our 5 shared values. So no matter what organization your son or daughter is interested in or ends up joining, we're all striving towards 5 areas. These 5 areas, each fraternity and sorority may use different vernacular and words, but these are the same areas that we're all striving towards. And obviously the areas of academic excellence, leadership development, sisterhood, brotherhood, social responsibility, and civic engagement are very closely related to the priorities of the division, the Office of the Dean of Students, but also to the academic mission of the institution and strategic plan. So Aubrey and I and multiple entities on campus are always providing workshops and initiatives around these areas. So to make sure that our fraternities and sororities are addressing them. So what can I find on the Fraternity and Sorority Life website? So beginning in fall 2015, Aubrey and I started posting academic related information, both on a community level and individual chapters. So if you head over to our website, you could see how many members of an individual chapter are on the Dean's list, how many of them had a 4.0, what was the new member average, which organizations were on academic probation between fall 2015 and the spring 2017 semester. So all of that is available to you. As of June 1st, 2017, Aubrey and I started posting current conduct status of our fraternities and sororities and history of our organizations going back to 3 years. So you can access the website to learn what some of our organizations may have been found responsible for as it relates to our student code of conduct and what are the expectations of them. We also have organizations that are no longer recognized on our campus. So we invite you to head to our Fraternity and Sorority Life website to access that information, to learn more about our code, and to find out why Aubrey and I started to post this information beginning this past June 1st. We also have philanthropy and community service information available on our website. At the end of the spring 2017 semester, our fraternity and sorority members did 12,000 hours of community service, and they donated over $60,000 towards local and national philanthropies. If you head to our website, you can learn more about those agencies, but also learn what was the average community service hours, and money towards philanthropy for each organization. So all that information is available on our website. You also have fraternity and sorority life policies that are available to you as written in our student handbook. So what is our stance on hazing? What are the minimum initiation requirements? What information is required to be submitted to the office for new member education or initial membership development? What are our minimum academic standards? What are we requiring as far as housing? So all that information is available to you. We also have a parent and family frequently asked questions section, and then a glossary of terms. So again, we invite you to visit this website not only now, but throughout the year as information is constantly updated. We hope that you use this website to help guide your student in making the best decision possible for them regarding fraternity, sorority membership in a particular organization. Obviously, fraternity and sorority life membership is a lifetime commitment and is also a financial commitment. So we want to make sure that as many resources are available to both you and your student as possible. Obviously, if you access our fraternity and sorority life website, you could also find more additional information about international headquarters contact information and local chapter information. So again, we encourage you to access this information. And if you have any information or questions that you want to learn more about, again, please do not hesitate to contact Aubrey or myself throughout the academic year. So we did want to go over some fraternity and sorority life terminology. Obviously, this is not an exhaustive list. You could find more terms on our website, but we did want to give you some terms that we think will be used in frequency or that you should at least be familiar with as it relates to recruitment intake. So we did want to go over some of those terms. So formal recruitment is the process where Panhellenic sororities and IFC fraternities get to know P&Ms. So if your son or daughter is interested in a fraternity or sorority at this point, or if they're registered for a process, they're known as a potential new member. So formal recruitment are run by student leaders. And so during the fall semester for IFC and Panhellenic, they provide a time period that each potential new member gets to meet and know more about each of our organizations through a formal process. Some organizations may also participate in an informal process throughout the year, but our student-led governing councils of these councils do provide a formal period for potential new members to learn more about the organizations under that umbrella. Rounds is a term used for formal Panhellenic recruitment. So there's a Go Greek round, there's a sisterhood round, there's a preference round. So each day is known as a round. And then when your daughter goes to visit a particular sorority within a round, it's known as a party. So they are at the XYZ organizational party. Pi Chi is otherwise known as a recruitment counselor. These are current upperclassmen, Panhellenic sorority members who have decided to disaffiliate from their respective organizations to help your daughter through the formal Panhellenic recruitment process. These women were selected and trained in spring 2017, and they were also provided training during the summer time period as well. Basically, they go over more information about each organization and provided counseling skills. And that training comes from not only that Panhellenic Council, but also outside agencies and our office as well, along with multiple entities on campus. Pi Chis will be great resources for your daughter during the formal recruitment process. So they are a peer that they could turn to ask more questions, help in decision-making process, but essentially they are the orientation leaders, or they're very similar to the orientation leaders, but for recruitment. So these will be great resources for your daughter during the formal recruitment process. Quota is a set number of new members a Panhellenic sorority can extend bids to. Total is the maximum number of members a Panhellenic sorority can have. A sorority can exceed total during formal recruitment. I mentioned earlier that some sororities may participate in informal recruitment. A sorority, a Panhellenic sorority, is eligible to participate in informal recruitment if they are under total. Whether or not they decide to participate in informal recruitment if they are under a total is really up to that particular sorority as they gain advisement from not only our office, but from their international headquarters and local support staff. So just because they may be eligible to participate in informal recruitment because they're under total doesn't mean that they have to. BID is a formal invitation given by an interfraternity council, Panhellenic, or special interest organization asking a prospective member to join a chapter or colony. BID day is the last day of the formal IFC or Panhellenic recruitment processes. So if your son or daughter will be accepting membership, this is kind of the day where they let that fraternity sorority know which organization they're choosing, but also letting the rest of the community know who our newest fraternity and sorority life members are. This is a public event, so if you are interested in seeing your son or daughter or being part of BID Day, this is a public event, so we do encourage you to attend if you are available or around the Chattanooga area. An informational is a meeting hosted by an MPHC affiliated organization for prospective members to receive information about and meet members of that particular organization. They're sometimes referred to an interest meeting. So each organization will have their own informational or interest meeting. So unlike IFC or Panhellenic, there is no formal time period where all the organizations will get together to take in members. Each organization has their own timeline. Some organizations do it in the fall, some do it in the spring, some do it both semesters, some may not do it at all during a time period. So an informational is really the first time period for a student to learn more information about a particular MPHC organization. Intake is the process of which MPHC organizations use to recruit, interview, select, and educate new members. A candidate or a new member, that it refers to a student who recently joined a fraternity sorority but has not yet been initiated. So if they receive a bid or they accept an invitation and they join, but they haven't been initiated yet, they're referred to as a candidate or a new member. A new member within the MPHC organization is also referred to as a neophyte or neo. And dues are the charges related to joining a fraternity or sorority. Dues cover costs of operation, formal events, activities, and other events. We'll talk about dues a little bit more during the PowerPoint. But if you have more interested in learning about more of our glossary of terms, again, they are available on our Fraternity and Sorority Life website. So a little bit more about our Panhellenic Association. So there are 7 organizations within our Panhellenic organization, and those 7 will be participating in the formal recruitment process during the week of August 14th. We have an organization that just joined us within the last year, and one of these organizations are almost 100 years old on our campus. So again, each of these organizations exemplify our 5 shared values, but how that happens may look different in each organization. Obviously, there are multiple factors from size to how long they have been on campus to the personalities of the individual organizations. But again, each of our organizations exemplify our 5 shared values. On the bottom of the screen, you see some of our statistics from the 2016-2017 academic year. Again, a more extensive list of statistics is available on our Fraternity and Sorority Life website. So we invite you to check out that for more information. At the end of the spring 2017 semester, our average Panhellenic organizational size was 125, with the range going from anywhere from about 68 to 158. And again, our organizations tend to be bigger at the end of the fall semester. Same thing with total membership size and our average size, knowing that our primary recruitment processes happen in the fall of each semester. Our Panhellenic women are also doing very well academically. You see that the collective average of our 7 Panhellenic organizations are higher than the all-female average, the all-Greek average, and the all-UTC average. So the Panhellenic formal recruitment schedule. So Panhellenic recruitment will begin with move-in on August 14th. Hopefully by now and at the time of this recording, your daughter received a phone call from their PICI kind of explaining what Monday and the first day looks like as far as formal recruitment goes, and then a follow-up email from Aubrey Duman explaining more about that process. But again, move-in will occur from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Recruitment one-on-one will happen from 1 to 3 or 3 to 5. What the time specifics are for your particular student are based on the group that they are in. Again, so that should have been communicated to your daughter at this point. Check-in begins 30 minutes before each individual section. And again, the suggested attire is casual. Shorts and t-shirt are fine for this orientation session. And again, we encourage potential new members to eat lunch before the session, as there will be opportunities available on campus and in the nearby vicinity to grab some food before recruitment one-on-one orientations begin. Tuesday and Wednesday is our Go Greek round. So between those 2 days, your daughter will visit all 7 of our organizations participating in formal recruitment. All P&Ms on both days are being asked to report to Crossroads at 11:30 a.m. Crossroads is adjacent to Chamberlain Field, if you're familiar with campus. Again, these instructions will be provided during recruitment one-on-one and through the PICI. Lunch will be provided both days. Both days should end by 6:30 p.m. And at the end of Wednesday, which is the end of the Go Greek round, your daughter will be asked to select their 5 organizations that they like the most and those that they would prefer not to go back to the following day if they had an option. Now, just because they list and move 2 of these organizations to one side of the computer screen, and these are the ones that they don't want to go back to as much, doesn't mean that they won't receive an invite to them on Thursday. Oftentimes when this happens, it's the sorority saying, hey, we are very interested in you and we want you to give us another chance. So this is when we encourage our potential new members to maximize their options and to continue to keep an open mind to all our organizations. So again, at the end of Wednesday, your daughter will be selecting the 5 that they like the most and those 2 that they may not want to go back to as much. Suggested attire is a nice blouse with a skirt, pants, or shorts, or sundress. We highly encourage students to wear flat shoes. It is a long day that goes from 11:30 a.m. to about 6:30 p.m. There's lots of walking and standing and getting on and off buses. So we want to make sure that safety is a priority and that our students are comfortable throughout the day. Thursday is our sisterhood round. So on this day, each potential new member that is still involved will visit up to 5 organizations. On Thursday, now it's often common that some potential new members will only be going to 3 or 4, but some may be going to 5. So we did want to put that out there. At the end of Thursday, you will be expected to kind of list up to 3 that you like the most, and then 2 that you would prefer not to go back to if you had an option. Again, just because you list 2 towards one side does not mean that you will not be invited back to them on Friday. Dinner will be provided this day, and the day will start around 12 p.m., where students will report to Derthick Hall. And Derthick Hall is right next to our library on campus. So again, if you're not familiar with campus, it is right next to it. Suggested attire is a nice blouse with a skirt, pants, or shorts, or a sundress. Again, keep in mind an appropriate length. So very similar to the Go Greek round. And then Friday, P&Ms will visit up to 2 chapters. Some will visit one, and again, that's perfectly okay. Some will be visiting two. And then at the end of Friday, if your daughter is still involved in the recruitment process, they will rank all their options. So, for example, if they went to two organizations during the day, they have to rank one and two. Again, we encourage students to maximize their options if they want to get into a sorority. And basically, what the MRAB is, and again, this will be explained throughout recruitment. The MRAB stands for the Membership Recruitment Acceptance Binding Agreement. Basically, they're saying is by any organizations that your daughter ranks that they're willing to accept an invitation to join. If they don't accept that invitation the following day, they are essentially saying that they will not be joining a sorority until the next primary recruitment season, which happens to be in fall 2018, even if they choose to transfer. If they accept the invitation but then drop before initiation, they are also not eligible to join until the next primary recruitment season, again, which is fall 2018. Again, we encourage each student to maximize their options throughout their process and throughout the formal recruitment period to maximize and increase their chances of joining or being a member of a fraternity or sorority. Dinner is also provided this day, and this is the most fancy of the attire throughout the week. It's often referred to Sunday best, so it's a nicer dress or pants and top that you may want to wear to a graduation ceremony or church services. So again, Friday is kind of the most day as far as dressing up goes. Thursday and Friday is also big days on campus. So we understand that there's a lot going on between Read to Achieve, Convocation. So our schedules are built around the mandatory events. So again, if there's a mandatory event that's happening on campus, our schedule has been built around that. So there's no reason why your daughter should not be attending things such as Read to Achieve, hall meetings, or the convocation. Again, our schedule is built around those events. Bid day. So PNMs can receive an invitation to membership from one of our 7 organizations on campus. So even if they went to 2 and ranked 2 after preference round, they will only receive a bid to one organization on bid day. Potential new members have the option to accept or deny that invitation at that time. If they accept, they will participate in running out the doors or bid day. Essentially, that is the time when they will run out to the sorority that they chose to join. All the other organizations will see who joined what organization, including our campus community. So again, this event is open to the campus community and to parents and families. So if you are available, we encourage you to join. PNMs are expected to arrive at McKenzie Arena at 9:30 a.m. And then you see the suggested attire in front of you. Many of the new member education processes will either begin on Saturday night or Sunday or Monday, the first day of classes. But again, keeping in mind that if your daughter is living on campus, there's a mandatory hall meeting that is taking place on Sunday, the day before classes begin. As it relates to the panel and formal recruitment schedule, so if your daughter does not hear from a Pi Chi or a fraternity and sorority life staff member regarding their involvement, they should continue to show up as advised. Again, it's really important that members participate and are present and show up at the right time, and that they go to all the parties and each round. Again, and for them to maximize their options throughout the sorority recruitment process. So is membership guaranteed? No, again, membership is not guaranteed. By maximizing their options each night and keeping an open mind, they're increasing their chances to joining or being recruited by a particular sorority. We use a release figure methodology process. So again, As it relates to bid matching, there's really three options. Your daughter receives their first choice, they receive their second choice, they receive a bid to their second choice, or they don't receive a bid at all. So again, we encourage your daughter to maximize their options and keep an open mind throughout the process and be engaged as much as possible. But membership is never guaranteed. Tips for recruitment to help your daughter. It is the summer, so anything that you can do to help us encourage your daughter to make sure that they're staying hydrated, that they're taking advantage of the meals that are available to them, and that they're taking care of themselves. Anything you can do to help us with that would be greatly appreciated. It is a long week that has many long days involved with it. It could be emotionally, it could be physically draining. So we want to make sure that our students are taking care of themselves, as their health and safety is our main priority. And then anything you can do to help them, encourage them to ask questions and really ask questions of fraternities and sororities to make sure that they are joining the organization that's right for them at the particular time. So anything you can do to help us with that would be greatly appreciated. So membership dues. So during Recruitment 101 and during round one on Tuesday and Wednesday of formal recruitment, each new member will receive a 3 to 5 minute presentation on what membership dues look like for that organization. So they'll know where their new member fees go and how that money is broken down. They will know what the approximate cost is after becoming initiation and what it may look like for living in the house and out of the house. So all that information will be covered during round one. So again, we want to make sure that our students are asking questions if this is important to them. Our sorority members are expecting questions. There is no bad questions. So we want to make sure that knowing that this is a big financial commitment, that our potential new members are asking questions. During the first semester, during the semester of new member education, dues should be anywhere between $630 and $975. Again, each organization is different, but they will receive more information on where that money is used and how it's used. So financial information will be covered. Typically, for most organizations, the first semester of membership, there is more of a financial commitment, but that's because there are lots of fees that are due to international headquarters. There's a badge fee. Money is needed for purchase of books and supplies. So all that information will be covered. But again, we encourage your daughter to ask the individual chapters about payment plans and what the financial commitment is. Moving on to our National Panhellenic Council organizations. Currently, we have 5 organizations on campus, 2 fraternities and 3 sororities. One of our sororities just joined within the last calendar year. Related to our MPHC organizations, the minimum requirement is 2.5 and 12 completed credits at UTC. So unlike our Panhellenic and IFC organizations, you need to have spent some time on UT's campus and earned credits in order to be eligible to join. On the bottom of the screen, you also again see statistics from the 2016-2017 academic year. In the spring 2017 semester, the average size of our MPHC organizations was 16, with the range going from anywhere from 16 to 31. And again, you kind of see the total membership numbers and how that compares to earlier years, again, is available on our Fraternity and Sorority Life website. The first opportunity for students who are interested in our MPHC organizations to learn more about these organizations is during the second week of classes, during the MPHC week. So in front of you, you see a couple events that are happening. More events will be announced. So again, we encourage students to look at the MPHC Moxing portal page, check social media outlets and campus postings for more information on events during that week. But this is really the first opportunity for students to learn more about the council as a whole, individual organizations, what they stand for, and really talk about what's true and what's not true as it relates to perceptions that may be out there. So MPHC intake, so again, there is no formal process that all organizations under the council get together to all conduct their processes at the same time. Each organization does it differently. Some may do it in fall, some may do it in the spring semester, some may do it both semesters, some may not do it every year. So if you're interested in a particular organization, we encourage you to kind of be on the lookout for flyers that are posted on campus. Membership is not guaranteed. Each organization has their own criteria, own processes. So again, we kind of encourage each student to do more of their research if they're interested in a particular organization. Membership dues for our MPHC organizations go from anywhere from about $1,500 to $2,000. And again, that kind of depends on your current year in school, but that money is mostly due up front before the intake process or the education process begins. A typical MPHC intake process looks like attending an informational interest meeting. If they further want to pursue membership, there's an application process that may involve interviews. A payment is then due. There's an educational period that might involve travel to regional conferences. Then there's an initiation, and then there's a new member presentation to the entire community. So a new member presentation is essentially the rest of the campus community to know who are the newest members of that particular organization. But again, just because a first-year incoming student may not be eligible to join during the first semester doesn't mean that they shouldn't attend events or be on the lookout. So again, as it relates to our MPHC organizations, the minimum is a 2.5 GPA with 12 completed credits at UTC, but many look for higher standards than that. Our Fraternity Council currently has 8 organizations. 3 of our organizations joined in the last 3 years. So we constantly have a growing community within the IFC. Our spring 2017 numbers, our average chapter size was about 40, with that range going anywhere from 10 to 70. And again, you kind of see how the IFC organizations compare to all UTC and all male averages. What the IFC formal recruitment schedule process looks like. So those interested in joining through the formal recruitment process need to register and pay by September 7th, and then also attend a recruitment one-on-one session where each potential new member learns about the process for the upcoming week, more about each organization, what they're about, and their upcoming events. But again, as we get closer to those dates, we invite each potential new member to kind of be on the lookout for information that's posted. On September 10th, each potential new member that's registered and eligible and paid will need to go through the chapter rotation process. And again, this is kind of the day that each organization will give information to a potential new member. And it's really the only time where each potential new member has to attend an event by each fraternity. September 11th through September 14th, there will be individual chapter events, typically happening from 5 to 10 p.m. Your son may attend as many of them as they want or as little as them as they want on each of those nights. But events are typically the same. They involve some kind of activity, some kind of cookout or a barbecue or sports. Really an opportunity for the potential new members to know the chapter members and what they're all about. And those are dry events. IFC formal recruitment is a dry process. And obviously, our student council that runs formal recruitment kind of checks in on each organization. But IFC formal recruitment is a dry process. The last day is a bid day, which is, again, the time where a potential new member will let the fraternity and the rest of the community know which organization they decide to join, if any. Um, During formal recruitment and at the end of formal recruitment, your son may receive an invitation to 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 organizations, and it's kind of really up to your son to decide if they want to accept a bid to any of the organizations that they receive the bid to. Again, membership is not guaranteed. Each organization has their own standards and their own criteria. So again, the minimum is a 2.5 high school GPA and enrolled full-time during the fall semester. But each organization, again, kind of has their own standards. As it relates to IFC organizations, the dues expected for each month are $150 to $200. And again, we encourage your son to ask questions on where this money is going and what it includes. But the typical range for the first semester of membership should be about from $150 to $200 per month. Our special interest organizations, we have 5 special interest organizations on campus, which range from community service or service-oriented to music-oriented to faith-based organizations to a co-ed organization. Each of these organizations have their own processes and they conduct recruitment events at their own time. Again, some may do it in the fall and spring, some may do it once a year. So if you are interested in one of these particular organizations, we encourage you to kind of be on the lookout for information throughout campus, but also to contact leadership directly. And their information is available not only on the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life website, but also the Mock Sync page. Again, on the left-hand side, you see how our special interest organizations compare academically to the rest of our community. At the end of the spring 2017 semester, the average size was about 30 members, with our smallest organization having 15 members and our largest special interest organization having 47. Our membership dues for each of our special interest organizations, much like IFC, are again $150 to $200 per month during that first semester. But again, where each organization spends their money really depends on each organization. So again, we do encourage each potential new member and each member to kind of ask where that money is going for each organization. So how can you help? So the main thing that we're really encouraging is to ask open-ended questions of your son or daughter as they're going through the recruitment and intake processes. Asking them how their day went, what did they like, what they didn't like, what did they learn about a particular organization, do they feel that they belong in that particular organization, what values do they hear exemplified. Oftentimes, we know that students are coming to UTC or going through these processes with their friends, but in the end, we want to make sure that they join an organization that's best for them and not necessarily their friends. Again, this is a lifetime commitment and there's a financial commitment involved. So we want to make sure that each student is doing what's best for them and not necessarily going based on what their peers like the best. So anything that you can do to ensure that our potential new members are asking the right questions, particularly related to financial information and the information that's available to them on our website, making sure that they have all the information available to them to make the best decision. So again, anything that you can do to help us support us in that endeavor would be greatly appreciated. We encourage you to connect with Aubrey and myself in our office throughout the academic year. So you see our email addresses, you see the main UTC FSL address, more parent information available to you, and our social media accounts that are available to you. Really, these are the sources that kind of tell you what's going on within the fraternity and sorority community. But again, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us throughout the academic year. So we know we threw a lot of information at you in a short amount of time, but we do want your feedback related to this webinar. So we want to know what was helpful to you, what topics you would like to hear about more in the future, what time would be best for you if we did a live webinar, asking you if you want to receive more information related to fraternity and sorority life, or the Parent and Family Association. So if you could access this link and answer our brief 8-question survey, that would be greatly appreciative. And obviously this helps with our initiatives moving forward as an office. We encourage you to check back with us if your son or daughter does end up joining a fraternity and sorority. In mid-September, we will post a webinar related to new member education and what that period will look like, kind of addressing information that our office collects, what the 8 to 12 week period will look like, how will it affect academics, what is hazing, what is not hazing, and again, provide additional resources and ways that you can help. Again, we kind of encourage you to check back with us in mid-September for that recorded webinar. But again, if you have any questions before then, please do not hesitate to reach out to Aubrey and myself or the main UTC website. There's also an area for you to submit an area of concern if you have one related to your son or daughter. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. Again, we know we threw in a lot of information at you in a short period of time. But again, we hope that you found this information helpful to you. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to connecting with you in the upcoming year.